The Indianapolis Colts have been one of the surprise teams in the NFL this season. They are 9-5, and with a win on Sunday in Kansas City, they can clinch a playoff spot. This is a team that picked number 1 overall last season. They finished with the worst record in the league last season. But with that choice, of course, they selected Andrew Luck. Luck has been great this season. Indianapolis, because of him, has a top 10 offense. The reason I say because of him is because it's because of him. I know they have a new coaching staff, Bruce Arians. It's his scheme, but it's not like Luck is working with Pro Bowlers at the wide receiver position, with the exception of Reggie Wayne, who's been doing it for years and years. And Indianapolis does not run the ball very well. I mean, they've really been living and dying on the right arm of Andrew Luck. And at 9-5, they've mostly been living. That being said, they haven't been as good on the road this year. And they are 6.5-point favorites on Sunday in Kansas City. But the reason they're 6.5-point favorites is because the Chiefs are 2-12. They got shut out last week by the Oakland Raiders, tied with Jacksonville for the worst record in the NFL. Listen, the Chiefs are pathetic right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball. If you remove their last win, they've only won twice this season. Their last win was 3 weeks ago, that emotional win over the Carolina Panthers, the day after the tragic Javon Belcher murder-suicide. That was a game that was debatable whether Kansas City should even play that game. They played, they won. If you remove that game, let me read to you the Kansas City Chiefs' point total in their last 9 games, aside from the Carolina game when they beat the Panthers 27-21. The last 9 games aside from that game, Kansas City Chiefs point totals of 0, 7, 9, 6, 13, 13, 16, 10, 6. This team just cannot score points. And Brady Quinn, who they've turned to at quarterback, and he's been bad, by the way, since they've turned to him. He suffered a rib injury last week, but he is going to give it a go this week. We thought they might turn to Ricky Stanzi, but apparently that's not going to happen. But the Chiefs, not surprising, given the numbers I just read you, they're last in the league, 32nd in points per game. They actually averaged less than 14 points per game, 13.9 points per game. Now, the bad news is their defense is bad too. 25th in the NFL in points allowed. They allow just over 26 points per game. So when you allow twice as many points as you score, that's a pretty good recipe to 2-12. And even though, situationally, this feels like a good spot to bet against the Colts. The Colts are a young team. They might not be quite as good as their 9-5 record. We mentioned they have been worse on the road this year. Andrew Luck has been worse on the road this year. The Colts, they're going to need to win by 7 to cover here. And they've only won by 7 one time this year on the road. That was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the lowly Jaguars. They beat the Jaguars 27-10 about a month ago. All of their other road games, they've either lost or won by less than 7. So it's a big number for Indianapolis to cover on the road here. But you know what? The Chiefs are as bad as Jacksonville. They're the only other team in the NFL that only has 2 wins. It's them and the Jaguars. So I don't really see any reason to think the Colts shouldn't be able to come into Kansas City on Sunday and pull out a win. And pull out a win by 7 points or more. I just don't know how Kansas City is going to keep up with them. Can they score enough points? I know the Colts aren't very good on defense, but we don't have to read those numbers again with the Kansas City Chiefs. So you get the point. They cannot score. And I don't see how that's going to change. I'm sure at this point they've pulled out all the stops. And Indianapolis, even though Kansas City is pretty good in the secondary, 7th in the NFL in pass defense, the Colts have shown week after week they can score some points. I mean, they're going to put up some points in this game, and I just don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to match them. So even though, I hate backing a rookie quarterback late in the season on the road, laying nearly a touchdown, in a spot, it feels like, and just against just about any other team, I would say, well, this might be a spot to fade the Colts. But against the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that just failed to score on the Oakland Raiders in 4 quarters, I have to recommend an Indianapolis bet. Go ahead and lay the 6.5 points.